Joining us now, Maryland Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings. Mr. Cummings, I want to talk to you about poverty, some of the other things that Marco Rubio talked about, but I just want to get your thoughts first on Secretary Gates. Do you think he was out of line here?
Well, first of all, it's good to be with you, Bob. I think that, first of all, I have a lot of respect for Secretary Gates. He served presidents of both parties and done an outstanding job. And I agree with him when he said that President Obama exercised great bravery with regard to bringing Osama bin Laden to justice. My one quibble is that when we've got troops in harm's way, Bob, it does concern me that these kind of comments are made. But overall, I think, but at the same time, he comments about the president being concerned about and having second thoughts at times about putting our troops in harm's way. I know the president. I know he cares about these troops, and that's basically what the secretary said. So I'm glad he did that. I'm glad he maybe had second thoughts. And I cannot say that was the situation always with President Bush. And so I feel comfortable. I just wish he could have waited a little while.
Let's talk about this other big story that's getting so much attention now, and that is this situation that Chris Christie finds himself in New Jersey. You're on the House Transportation Committee as well as the Government Oversight Committee. Do you think this debacle up there is worthy of a federal investigation, a congressional investigation?
Well, being on the Oversight Committee and doing a lot of investigations, I've always been reluctant to get ahead of a situation. In other words, I think what we need to do is see what comes out of the we've got at least two investigations going on right now, Bob. You've got the New Jersey legislature, and then you've got the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is a very serious matter. Now, keep in mind what they're doing, Bob. They are basically investigating a former federal prosecutor, which is that's serious. I think we need to see what comes out. I got to tell you, though, when I look at Christie's style, and I don't know him, it's hard for me to believe that he was blindsided by anything. Because he doesn't come off that way. Again, I think we need to wait and see. There may be a point where we have to look into it, but nobody above the law. And so we'll look into it if it comes to us.
Talk to me a little about Marco Rubio's proposals on poverty. Basically, what he is saying is that let's just turn most of these programs over to the states. He also talks about doing away with the earned income tax credit and replacing it with just a federal subsidy to people who are in low wage brackets.
Yeah, I listened to it, and I got to tell you, I was surprised in a way. On the one hand, Bob, the poverty programs, anti-poverty programs, have brought a lot of people out of poverty. And I was pleased to hear him say that it has alleviated poverty for many folks. The research shows that the poverty rate would probably be double if these programs like Medicare had not been put in place. Medicare, keep in mind, Bob, Medicare, 50 years ago, 50% of our people seniors didn't have health insurance, and now they do. Same thing with Social Security. 50% were begging almost for food. Now, 1 out of 7 is in poverty, and that's a big difference between 50%. So I think that's all, those programs are important. His proposal bothers me because if you're going to take these programs, is he going to say that about Medicare too and put it in a basket in the states? You see what the states have done. I mean, in his own state, we've got 800,000 people, Bob, who could have been placed in Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act and could be being treated right now. There are people watching this show right now that could be being treated for colon cancer or serious diseases that are not. And he hasn't done anything on that.
Let me ask you, big votes coming up in the Senate this week, and then if the House takes it up, we'll find out. Do you see any way that the Congress is going to come together on extending these unemployment benefits?
Bob, I'm hoping so, because there's so many people On it. Keep in mind that extending those benefits will cover 1.3 million people plus another 2 million for 2014. Yeah, I'm hoping that they will.
What about increasing the minimum wage?
We've got to do it because, again, and I'm hoping that Rubio will be one of the lead people. He said we need to do more, and the thing that we need to do is help people survive and help them. That one move from $7.25 now to $10.10 will bring 5 million people out of poverty. And he can make a major step there. And maybe he can go to the library and give Johnson Library and make that announcement.
All right. Congressman, we want to thank you for being